Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with Part 3. Chapter 2, Spiritual Light, the New Element and the New Substance, from the Mystical Interpretation of Christmas by Max Heindel. Chapter 2, Spiritual Light, the New Element and the New Substance. Last year, our correspondence course in Mystic Christianity was started with a lesson on Christmas from the cosmic point of view. It was explained that the summer and winter solstices, together with the vernal and fall equinoxes, form turning points in the life of the great Earth Spirit, as conception marks the commencement of the human spirit's descent into the earthly body, resulting in birth, which inaugurates the period of growth until maturity is reached. At that point, an epoch of mellowing and ripening has its inception, together with a decline of the physical energies which terminates in death. That event frees man from the trammels of matter and ushers in the season of spiritual metabolism, whereby our harvest of earthly experiences are transmuted to soul powers, talents, and tendencies to be put to usury in future lives, that we may grow more abundantly rich in such treasures and be found worthy as faithful stewards to fill greater and greater posts among the servants in the Father's house. This illustration rests upon the secure foundation of the great law of analogy, so tersely expressed in the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. Upon this, the master key to all spiritual problems, we shall also depend for an open sesame to our lesson on Christmas this year, which we hope may correct, confirm, or complete previous views on the part of our students, as each requires. The bodies originally crystallized in the terrible temperature of Lemuria were too hot to contain sufficient moisture to allow the spirit free and unrestricted access to all parts of their anatomy, as it has at present by means of circulating blood. Later, in early Atlantis, they had indeed blood, but it moved only with difficulty and would have dried quickly because of the high internal temperature, save for the fact that an abundance of moisture was supplied by the watery atmosphere, which then prevailed. Inhalation of this solvent gradually lessened the heat and softened the body until a sufficient quantity of moisture could be retained within to allow of respiration in the comparatively dry atmosphere which later obtained. The earlier Atlantean bodies were of a grained and stringy substance, not unlike our present tendons, and also resembling wood, but in time flesh-eating enabled man to assimilate sufficient albumin to build elastic tissue necessary for the formation of lungs and arteries, so as to allow unrestricted circulation of the blood such as now obtains in the human system. By the time these changes within and without had taken place, the grand and glorious seven-colored bow appeared in the rain-laden sky to mark the advent of the kingdom of men, where conditions were to be as varied as the hues into which its atmosphere refracted the unicolored light of the sun. Thus, the first appearance of the bow in the clouds marked the commencement of the Noachian age, with its alternating seasons and periods of which Christmas is one. The conditions prevailing in this age are not permanent, however, any more than those of previous ages. The process of condensation, which transformed the fire fog of Lemuria into the dense, moist atmosphere of Atlantis, and later liquefied it into the water which flooded the cavities of the earth and drove mankind to the highlands, is still going on. Both the atmosphere and our own physiological condition are changing, heralding to the seeing eye and the understanding mind the dawn of a new day upon the horizon of time, an age of unification called in the Bible the kingdom of God. The Bible does not leave us in doubt concerning the changes. Christ said that. As it was in the days of Noah, so should it be in that day. Science and invention are both now finding conditions not previously met. It is a scientific fact that oxygen is being consumed at an alarming rate to feed the fires of industry. Forest fires are also drawing enormously upon our stock of this important element, besides adding to the drying up process which the atmosphere is naturally undergoing. Eminent scientists have pointed out that a day must come when the globe cannot sustain life depending upon water or air for existence. Their ideas have not excited much anxiety, as the day they have named is so far in the future. But though the day be distant, the doom of Ariana is as inevitable as that of the flooded Atlantis. Could an Atlantean be transferred to our atmosphere, he would be asphyxiated as are fish taken from their native element. Scenes viewed in the memory of nature prove that the pioneer aviators of that time actually did faint when they encountered one of the airstreams, which gradually descended upon the land which they inhabited, and their experience caused much comment and speculation. The aviator of today are already encountering the new element and experiencing asphyxia, as did our Atlantean forebears. And for analogous reasons, they have encountered a new element descending from above, which will take the place of oxygen in our atmosphere. There is a new substance also entering the human frame, which will supersede albumin. Moreover, as the aviators of ancient Atlantis fainted and were prevented by descending air currents from entering Ariana, the promised land, prematurely, so will the new element baffle present-day aviators as well as mankind in general until all have learned to assimilate its material aspects. And as the Atlanteans whose lungs were undeveloped perished in the flood, so will also the new age find some without the wedding garment, and therefore unfit to enter until they shall have qualified at a later time. It is therefore of the greatest importance to all to know about the new element and the new substance. The Bible and science combined furnish ample information upon the subject. We have stated before that in ancient Greece, religion and science were taught in the mystery temples, together with the fine arts and crafts, as one united doctrine of life and being. But that this condition is now temporarily abrogated to facilitate certain phases of development. The unity of religions and scientific language in ancient Greece made these matters comparatively easy of comprehension. But today complications have set in owing to the fact that religion has translated and science merely transferred their terms from the original Greek, which has caused many seeming disagreements and a loss of the link between the discoveries of science and the teachings of religion. To arrive at the desired knowledge concerning physiological changes now going on in our system, we may call to mind the teachings of science that the frontal lobes of the brain are among the most recent developments of the human structure and make that organ in man enormously larger proportionately than in any other creature. Now let us ask ourselves, is there in the brain any substance peculiar to that organ, and if so, what may be its significance? The first part of the question may be answered by reference to any scientific textbook bearing upon the subject. But the Rosicrucian Cosmoconception, page 452, gives more, and we quote from it as follows. The brain is built of the same substances as are all the other parts of the body, but with the addition of phosphorus, which is peculiar to the brain alone. The logical conclusion is that phosphorus is the particular element by means of which the ego is able to express thought. The proportion and variation of this substance are found to correspond to the state and stage of intelligence of the individual. Idiots have very little phosphorus, shrewd thinkers have much. It is therefore of great importance that the aspirant who is to use his body for mental and spiritual work should supply his brain with this substance necessary for that purpose. The indisputable religiousness of Catholics is partly traceable to their practice of eating fish on Fridays and during Lent, which are rich in phosphorus. Though fish are a low order of life, the Rosicrucian Cosmoconception does not approve of killing them, but refers the student to certain vegetables as a means of physically obtaining an abundance of this desirable substance. There are other and better ways not mentioned in the Cosmoconception, as it would have been a digression there. It was not by chance that teachers of the Grecian mystery school thus named that luminous substance which we know as phosphorus. To them it was patent that God is light, the Greek word is phos. They therefore most appropriately named the substance in the brain, which is the avenue of ingress of the divine impulse, phosphorus, literally light bearer. In the measure that we are capable of assimilating that substance, we become filled with light and commence to shine from within, a halo surrounding us as mark of sainthood. The phosphorus, however, is only a physical medium which enables the spiritual light to express through the physical brain, the light itself being the product of soul growth. But soul growth enables the brain to assimilate an increasing amount of phosphorus. Hence, the method of acquiring this substance in large quantity is not by chemical metabolism, but by an alchemical process of soul growth. Thoroughly explained by Christ in his discourse to Nicodemus, God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought of God. John 8:17-21. Christmas is the season of greatest spiritual light. During this age of alternating cycles, there is an ebb and flow of the spiritual light as well as of the waters in the ocean. The early Christian church marked the conception in the fall of the year, and to this day the event is celebrated in the Catholic Church when the great wave of spiritual life and light commences its descent into the earth. The flood tide is reached at Christmas, which is therefore truly the holy season of the year, the time when this spiritual light is most easily contacted and specialized by the aspirant through deeds of mercy, kindness, and love. Nor are opportunities lacking to even the poorest, for, as so often emphasized in the Rosicrucian teachings, service counts more than financial assistance, which may be a detriment to the recipient. From those, however, to whom much is given, much will be required. And if anyone has been blessed with an abundance of the world's goods, a careful dispensation of the same would necessarily accompany whatever physical service he may render. Let us further remember the words of the Christ. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Thus we shall follow him as burning and shining lights, showing the way to the new era. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.